Hey there, and welcome to Epic Real Estate, where we show people how to invest in real estate with an emphasis on retiring early. And today we're going to talk to an REI ACE client who's had an amazing amount of success very, very quickly investing in vacant properties. And as you see here, that on the thumbnail, I just got another one under contract. These vacant properties are an effing gold mine. So let's talk about that today. And before we get started, though, if this is your first time here, really glad that you found us. If you like what you hear, you like what you see, make sure you hit the subscribe button before you go. And hit the like button too. And if this is not your first time here, welcome back and thank you for sharing this with your friends and family. Really appreciate you for that. I mean, we've been doing this for almost 12 years now, and I just wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you doing that. So you're the absolute best for doing that. So thanks again. And by the way, if you'd like to look into working together one-on-one to take your real estate investing up to the next level, how I did, how I've done with, gosh, let's see, I guess we can say thousands easily now. It's been a really long time. I've been teaching for 10 years and particularly going to get to meet one today. But if you like the idea of doing that, go over to reiace.com and answer a few short questions about yourself and about your goals and what you want to accomplish. And then you can pick a time for us to hop on the phone and brainstorm some ideas about what that's going to take to get you to that next level and get you to where you want to go with your real estate investing. So over at reiace.com. Alrighty, so without further ado, please help me welcome REI ACE private client, Mr. Devin Romberger. Devin, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
You bet.
Glad I can make it this time.
Yeah, totally, right? Yeah, we missed out on each other a couple of times. But I put this in the thumbnail. This was a little Voxer message right there in the middle that I got from your coach, Josh. And he says, you got to talk to Devin. He's doing really well. And he started from scratch. He didn't know anything. I literally had to explain to him like the most basics of basic things. And here you are. You just went out and followed the rules or followed the instructions. And you're doing really, really well. So I want to talk all about that. But before we get there or go there, share with me what was it that you were looking to accomplish, just before we started working together?
Like on the property or as far as like getting into
Well,
Epic?
yeah, just getting involved with Epic, getting involved with real estate. What challenges were you looking to solve in your life right now or then?
Yeah, so right now I'm a student, and throughout my life I pretty much like worked a lot of blue collar labor jobs and kind of realized I didn't want to keep doing that for the rest of my life after seeing all the people around me, suffering at an older age. And I thought, well, I don't want to put my body through that. And my goal would be to just have passive income and have the freedom to do whatever I want, whenever I wanted. And I thought, why not now? Like, it's a good time to start when you're young. I don't have a whole lot of responsibilities as far as kids, as far as, a job, family, stuff like that. So it's just like a really good time to try it out and see what I could do.
Super. No time like the present then.
Yeah.
So this was just you on your own. You're a bachelor, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. No family or anything like that. And you've got this blue collar job or a slew of them. So what would it have meant for you personally if you were able to, kind of put that behind you and create this passive income through real estate for yourself?
Just give me an opportunity to do things that I've wanted to do. A lot of times I say like, oh, I can't do this because I don't have time for it. Like I want to take a class doing something, but it's during a time that I'm working or doing something else. So it would just be nice to have that time for freedom and to learn things that I want to learn, help people I want to help, and not just be limited by time and where I'm supposed to be at a certain time. So
Perfect. Yeah, we all have our different reasons for getting involved in real estate, and they all kind of fall right into that little category, right? Getting our time back, being in charge of that for sure. Excuse me. Okay, super. So this is what I wanted to talk to you about today. When did we start working together? When did you start working with Epic?
I first went to my very first meeting in November, but then I actually started like working with Josh and Matt back in around like the turn of the year, beginning of January.
Okay, so here we are, just a few months in, right?
Yeah.
And share with me your experience with real estate up to that point.
I knew I wanted to do it. I didn't have any experience in it. Never done anything like it before.
Super. Okay, because the reason I asked is I got this Josh, your coach, text me or Voxer me saying that You just heard that you were going to be on the show today, and he said two cool things about his story that you should address. One is that he literally had less prior real estate knowledge before RAs than any client that he's ever been able to work with. So you started with nothing, knowing nothing, is what he said. And he gave an example. He literally had to explain what the difference or what a title company did and why an investor friendly one was important. And then secondly, he said he's had all his success through one batch of REI print mail. So just one direct mail campaign. And he said this would be a good testimony to what we've set up for you over here. So we'll talk about those things. And so with this one right here, it says just got another one under contract. So obviously there's more than one. So let's talk about the first one. How did that play out? How did you find the lead and how that conversation go? And kind of walk me through that process.
Yeah, so it started out with REI print mail. I talked to Emmy, and she's really great. I got to give a lot of credit to her as well as Josh. But I talked to her, and we agreed to print out 1,000 postcards to different towns around my area, probably about like a 100-mile radius. And within like 2 or 3 days, I started having all these calls. I was getting probably 20 to 30 calls a day. Mm-hmm. And I was just taking as many as I could. Yeah, just taking as many as I could, writing down their information. I missed a lot because, I mean, I would be driving to the store or something like that, or talking to someone, and I'd be getting phone calls. So I just have to like put on silent. So, I had all these different people calling me. So I tried to put them in my REI black book, like as best I could for the time being. And I organized a list of just 5-6 people at first in the town that I wanted to look in, and just kind of visit them, check out their property, see what they had. And then from there, I was going to present my offers. And I just picked a day, went to the town and met some people, and sent out a bunch of offers. And one guy and I kind of clicked from the get-go. He had an extra property that was inherited from his parents, and he wasn't using it. So I gave him an offer, and he liked it. So everything worked. Here I am.
You just went through the process. So which market are you in? Because you sent out 1,000 pieces of mail, and you got that many calls. I'm curious which market you're in.
Yeah, so I'm in Cheyenne, Wyoming, which is the capital of Wyoming. It's right in the southeastern part, and like in northern Colorado and eastern Nebraska. So I tried not to limit to myself to specifically Cheyenne, Wyoming, but that 100-mile radius, that kind of includes 3 states. So It gives me a little bit more opportunity.
Very good. And, and I'll just give a little plug to Emmy. She's here to help the whole Epic community. You can go to callemmy.net. You can jump on her calendar, and she'll walk you through this process. And the reason I'm kind of pointing that out and took the liberty to do this shameless plug right here is that she has a load of information and stats from all across the country with regards to what lists and what marketing pieces work in each market. And there's sometimes she'll say, nope, this isn't going to work here, or you're going to need to really amp up your budget significantly for this to work. So you had that call with her. You sent out 1,000 pieces. So I imagine that was a pretty targeted list. Do you have an idea of what that actual list was?
Well, I didn't have a whole lot of options because my town only has a population of 60,000 people. So basically any house that was for sale, any vacant house, anything like that, I sent them to pretty much everybody that I had in my area. They couldn't like pick and choose. So I just, I had her help me out. She set up my list for me. She just found like a list of criteria that I was looking for as far as, 3-bed, 2-bath house, and whatnot. And she sent them all out for me. So I really didn't have to put together my own list per se.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. Well, good. So that was a pretty easy gig for her then. And sometimes it works out that way. So that's good. Do you remember what kind of mailing piece you sent out to get that type of reaction?
Oh, yeah. So in my area, it's very, everyone likes to have hospitality here, and there's a lot of hospitality. So I sent about as basic as you can get. I did the handwritten letter, and I had a lot of success from it. I thought it would fit very well for around here. A lot of people are older and retired, and something like that's a lot more sentimental to them. So
got it. So more personal, just like a yellow handwritten letter type thing.
Yeah.
That was perfect. Okay, cool. So you got the calls came in, you started interacting with them, and you sent out some offer, you set some appointments, you sent out some offers, and then one of them popped. So you got one of those offers accepted. Was there anything unique or special, or you just kind of like gave them an offer and they said yes?
Um, well, he was a pretty motivated seller. He needed the money at the time.
Okay.
So um, that was kind of hard to find because a lot of the people that I found that wanted to sell, they weren't motivated sellers. They just have a lot of properties that they don't want to take care of or manage because they're getting old. So this was the actual, like the only motivated seller that I had within those 6 people that I went to see that day.
Okay. Well, good. I mean, those numbers are actually about right. So that means you were doing it right. Um, so you got the property under contract, and then what's next? What was your exit strategy?
Oh, wow. So it did not go as smooth as I thought it was going to go.
Uh,
It was my first one, so I was kind of expecting that. But um, I struggled a lot with like how everything was going to play out logistically. That's
mhm.
why like I was questioning Josh so much on like which title company do I go to, and like thankfully I did reach out to him because I almost went to the wrong title company, so he saved me a lot of time doing that. But
Mhm.
um, that was the first thing I did. I sent the contract to the title company. They told me to hold off because I didn't have a buyer yet, so they said just hold off on actually filing it until I can find the buyer, and then we can do it all at the same time. So lo and behold, I put it on Facebook that night, and within 1 hour, I had a buyer that put a down deposit on the property, put $1,000 down just for me to take it off and hold it for him. So I did that and um, waited for him to sign the purchase agreement, and that took about a week. And then it actually finally got signed the same day that I came down to do the accelerator.
Okay. Oh, that's
And
right. That's right. Because you came here and you just gotten the contract signed that day. Super.
yeah,
So I was going to follow up with you to see how that played out, and then when I did, Josh had told me, no, you already on to your second one. So you found the buyer, and do you mind if we throw out a number there of what you actually made on that very first deal?
yeah. So I got under contract for 40,500, and I ended up selling it for 60,000. So I made 18,500 profit after
That's not
all the closing costs and whatnot. So
that's not bad for your first deal. Very,
yeah, not bad for a contract flip. Yeah, not at all.
very, very good. And so obviously it was the buyer's money, so you sold the contract, didn't require any of your own money to be part of this deal, right?
Right.
Perfect. Okay, cool. So awesome. So looking back um, on that first deal, I want to talk about your next one here in a second. But looking on that first deal, what would you say? What were your most valuable lessons that you got from that?
Number one, like it's important to actually talk to someone who's actually doing the work, who's actually done it. If it wasn't for Josh, like I wouldn't be here in this position, not this fast at least. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you can look up this information anywhere, but to have someone that has actually done it and gives you advice on, what to do in certain situations, it's priceless, really. So,
Right. Right. Yeah, Josh was a former REA Ace client, and now he's my assistant coach. So you were working with Josh, if people are wondering who Josh is. But perfect. So he guided you through this because you can have all the systems and the resources and all the tools and everything, the instruction. But at some point, you're going to get stuck. Everybody gets stuck, and you need to like connect some dots there. And that's what Josh did for you. What else did you learn from this transaction?
I learned that it's possible. That's one of
Mm-hmm.
the like driving motivators for me on this first deal was just to see like, is it really like possible to
Yeah.
make money with no money that's not even yours? So, um, yeah, it's definitely possible.
Yeah.
Um, I also learned the value of establishing good relationships. Where I'm from, it's very limited people. We only have 500,000 people in our whole state. So connections are everything.
Uh huh.
Um, just meeting with people, a couple of the people that wanted to buy it were also contractors who, had wives that were realtors, stuff like that. And I mean, you meet someone like that and they know the whole town already. So it's very valuable to have different connections like that.
Super. Yeah. No, I would say evidence, like knowing it's possible, as you just mentioned. That was what really set me off on my very first deal was when the guy next to me closed the deal, and I was like, wait a minute, he was in the same class I was in. He got the same instruction, the same education, and he's actually doing it. Like it does work. So once I had that belief, then I was off to the races. So, once now that you've got that under your belt, and it was you that provided the evidence for yourself, that's awesome. And then you discover that it's a people business, right? And so the relationships count. If every piece of real estate you buy or sell is going to be from or to another person, and now you discover that, then you're going to get lots of access to other relationships. So fantastic, so super. All right, so the reason I fast forwarded this and brought you onto the show as soon as I could was because of this. Just got another one under contract. So explain to me, did this come from the same batch of mail? The lead generated the same way?
Yeah, I'm actually still working on that same batch
Okay.
of mail. I mean, I haven't even done anything else with Emmy yet. We have a plan to, do something in April, but I'm still feeding off those ones. But I don't have it under contract now. The owner had to back out
Okay.
because he didn't have a clear title yet, so we wanted to wait. So
Right.
I'm going to give him a call this next week and see if we can get it going again. But I have another property it's very close to being under contract.
Okay.
And if you want, I can tell you a little bit about that one. Or
Sure, please. Like, so all of this has come from just the single direct mailing that you set up with Emmy, right?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. And then the calls are coming in and you're just following up with them. Are you taking them through the 9-point seller interview that we went through at the summit?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how I started. Every single call, I would do the 9-point seller interview. There was times I had to kind of improvise. I didn't have it with me or something like that. So I just do the best I could. Asked them if I could, schedule another appointment to talk to them further, and then I could actually look at it and see what I need to ask them. But yeah, I found it very helpful, really, to use that.
Perfect.
Especially
Cool.
in that.
Awesome. So go ahead and describe this one that you're working on right now, and maybe there's something that we can do to actually get this signed now.
Yeah, so it's actually in the same town, and it's a 4-bed, 2-bath. It's about 1,500 square feet. It's like a ranch style home, single level, and the seller's a very motivated seller. It's another inherited property. They live about 300 miles away, and they just don't want a property to deal with. So it's like a pretty ideal situation, to buy a property. So I just went up there and talked to them on Wednesday. I did a view of the house and kind of, asked to see if I could help them out with anything because they still had quite a few things to move, and I don't want to pressure them into moving or, selling real fast. I always try not to do that. I don't want to be that person. But talked to them a little bit, got to know them pretty well, and kind of showed them what would be a fair offer for their house and how much they're looking to get for it. And we seem to agree on a price. I don't want to say it's confirmed yet because I haven't had the contract signed, but they were very happy with the offer. So I'm just waiting to hear back from them, and I'm probably going to talk to them next week, Monday, and give them a call and see how things are going.
Perfect. Awesome. So what have been your 3 favorite things working with Epic so far in these 3 short months?
3 favorite things. First and foremost is definitely the coaching. It's nice to know, if I need to talk to someone about anything, I'm not experienced at all really with this still, even with this one deal. It's just nice to be able to reach out and ask, for help and say hey, what would you do in this situation? Because there's a lot of situations that you'd run into that you need the experience to make a decision really. And for example, a lot of houses around here have asbestos, and I'm what do you do in that situation where you run into hazardous material, stuff like that? So it's nice to just call up someone and ask hey, what can I do in this? How do I negotiate it? Stuff like that. So
Perfect.
another, I guess, is the relationships that you make. That's very valuable. Not just for real estate, but just, finding like-minded individuals you can talk to and make friends with and to talk more about these things. And then last most important thing, I don't know. Those 2 have pretty much summed it up for me, really.
That's good enough. I mean, some guidance from someone who's been there and done that, and then some like-minded relationships. You don't need a whole lot more once you've got the instruction. It's just the support that's really kind of brings it all together. Yeah, so super. Thanks for sharing that. So moving forward, what do you see for the future now?
Well, I was questioning this because I'm pretty new to this. I didn't know what to expect. And I mean, I didn't know if I had a hot market or not, but after like talking to you and talking to Josh, it seems like I'm in a really good market where I'm at. So, I mean, it looks like it could be very promising. So I'm just gonna keep putting in my work, um, advertising,
Right.
um, and then yeah, taking advantage of opportunities that I can. Really, especially while the market's this hot.
Right. And I think it's going to be hot for a very, very long time, despite what some points of view out there might say. Just the supply and demand is so much in real estate's favor that I don't think there's a better business or industry to be in at the moment, at least specifically on the investor side. And then going into an inflationary environment, the one that we're going into right now, and just inflation goes up and up and up. And there's no better asset class than real estate in that type of environment. And you can get the asset class that actually produces an income that rises with inflation is even better. And you start implementing creative financing strategies, which we'll get to with you as we go along. But you get someone else to pay for that stuff, all the better. Like you're going to make it. So awesome, Devin. Thanks for taking time out on your Saturday to share this with us. Can you finish this sentence for me? I almost didn't work with Epic because.
I almost didn't work with Epic because I didn't think it was legit from the start. Like you see a lot of companies, advertising stuff like this, and you don't know what to expect. I took a pretty big chance doing it. I didn't know what to expect, but I thought, some people spend thousands of dollars, to get themselves through one semester of school.
Right.
Like what's this gonna hurt, So I did it, took a chance, and I can say it's legit. Really, I have no complaints. I got to thank everyone because it wouldn't be possible without everyone. So,
Right. Super. Well, thanks, Devin. Stay in touch, and we're just getting started.
Yes, sir.
All right, man. You have a good day, and I'll talk to you soon.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me, Matt.
You bet. Thanks, Devin. All right, so there's Devin's story. I got a couple questions. If you have any questions, I don't have anything for the rest of the day here on Saturday. So if you got some questions, I'll be more than happy to answer those for you. I got this one here, trying to wait it out for the lower prices, right? Seems like the prices just keep going up and up and up. I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know what's going to happen, obviously. There's a lot of variables going on in the world right now, and the geopolitics. But if you just look at straight supply and demand as far as real estate goes, it's so out of balance. There is so much demand. The population is getting older, and the biggest chunk of the population is moving right now, right this very moment, over the next 2 years, into first-time home buyer age. And there are just not enough houses being built, nor have they been being built over the last decade. So the most recent study from the National Association of Realtors said that they're predicting it's going to take 10 years of steady building just to level out the market. So I don't see prices coming down. And if they do come down, it'll be probably for one main reason, and that would be interest rates. And we're all predicting or expecting probably 6, 7 different rate hikes coming this year. But the conflict between Russia and Ukraine has certainly slowed that down a little bit. We just had a small little increase, but we were expecting one much bigger. So they can't increase the interest rates right now. So I would say buy as much real estate as you possibly can. This is what I'm doing, buying as much as I can with the low interest money that you can get from the banks right now. If you can get access to that, if you have the ability to do that. And if you don't, find a partner to come in and do it with you. As we go into this inflationary environment, not only are you going to be hedged from the real estate itself, but as interest rates go up, that loan that you have locked in at this lower rate is going to be as much of an asset as the real estate itself, because you won't be able to get that again, right, or for a while. But the other part about the inflationary environment, as really, or the inflation destroys the value of our dollar, right? It destroys the purchasing power of our dollar. It destroys the purchasing power of everybody's dollar, including the money that you have borrowed. So it actually destroys debt as well. So if you can get long-term, low-interest fixed debt, that is an asset in an inflationary environment like the one that we're in, and potentially has never been as much of an asset in the last 40 years or so. So that's my philosophy. I am not slowing down on real estate at all. I'm trying to pick it up. Okay. So let's see. What else? Again, I have nothing new today, or not nothing new. I have nothing planned today. So if you have any questions, go ahead and fire up. I'll hang out for a minute. I was thinking I should try to find a pre-foreclosure since I'm older and a 30-year mortgage. Won't be working in 30 years. Sure, you could find a pre-foreclosure, but I mean, you could wait for that, but there's not a lot of them out there. People are paying their bills. People aren't, if you watch the news, you think a lot of people are poor, broken, lonely, and destitute and struggling. But the pre-foreclosures are just, or the foreclosures period are just not happening the way that we thought they were going to happen after the mortgage moratorium was lifted, or the forbearance program was lifted, because there's so much pent up buying power and demand on the sidelines that no one has to give their house back to the bank. They just put it on the market and cash all their money out. No one is sitting there like, no, I'm not, since I can't make my payments, I'm just going to sit here and wait for the bank to come and take it back. No one is doing that. They put it on the market and boom, they're all squared away. Their credit score is preserved. They got cash out because they've had their house for a while and amassed all this equity over the last couple of years. So the foreclosures, I don't think they're coming. I mean, there's certainly some out there for sure. There always are, but nothing like what we were expecting after this pandemic ended. All right, let's see. Here's a good question. Mr. Lou Jarvis. I live in Arizona and I'm just selling 28 apartments and I'm going to realize a $1.3 million gain. What do you suggest I do with the profits? Would you stay in Arizona or invest in another market? I think Arizona is, I don't have any data or stats in front of me, but I know Arizona is one of the top fastest growing markets in the whole country. I think your money and your investments are pretty safe in that city. Well, it would be Phoenix specifically. I don't know where you are there, but I know Phoenix is one of the fastest growing cities and most of the biggest appreciating cities as far as home values go, and also one of the fastest rising in their rental rates too. So going from there, if I was selling first of all, I'd want to know why you were selling the 28 apartments. But if I was selling 28 apartments, I'd put it back into real estate. I'd do a 1031 exchange so I don't have the tax implications. And I would probably look to upgrade the quality or upgrade the asset that I am purchasing. So say I had you've got this grading system for real estate. You got A, B, C, D, right? With A being the best and D kind of being like your less than desirable areas. So if that were like a C property, working class, blue collar, maybe lower income, but everyone there's still got jobs, that type of neighborhood, I might be looking to go ahead and push that into a like maybe a B class property, because I've done that. I've had up to 350 units of my own, and now I'm down to 50. So I've reduced the size of my portfolio significantly from a unit size, but not necessarily from a dollar amount size or a value size. I purchased a bunch of $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 houses all through the Midwest and the South. I always do this. This is the Midwest, and then the South is the bottom of the United States. But I started moved from C properties into B properties and A properties, and they've just become much nicer experiences from a management perspective. And those B's and A's, they tend to benefit from appreciation a little bit more as well. So that's what I'm looking at. That's what I've done. And if you ask me what would I do, that's what I would do. But again, there's a lot that I would need to know about your specific situation to give you any hard advice. But I'm not supposed to give financial advice here anyway. But that's what I would do if I were in your selling C-class property, just got offered ridiculous money to sell. Yeah. So $1.3 million. And it also depends like where you're at in life. Like, do you need that $1.3 million like to live and support your lifestyle? Or do you have a good income and, let's go ahead and let's avoid paying taxes and kind of do a 1031 exchange and migrate that into another piece of real estate and preserve that wealth that you just created. So congratulations to you. Good spot to be in. Okay. Would you suggest a Delaware state trust? I know a lot about trusts, but for some reason, Lou, I've never heard of a Delaware state trust. So, yeah. So here you are, 60 years old. You're 60. Congrats, Lou. Need to invest for retirement. Yeah, I would invest in something that's going to give you an income, a predictable income. And I would be really careful in the type of inflationary environment that we're going in. You don't put it into anything that has a fixed income, right? So real estate is really going to be the best because that income is going to increase as inflation increases. If you were to put it into the stock market, and because this is inflation really kills people, it kills your W-2 employees unless they're just constantly getting raises. And then it kills retirees that are on fixed incomes based on those investments that their financial planners put them into. So I would keep it in real estate and try to put it in a spot where maybe the management is minimal for you. That's why I was kind of recommending going into higher quality properties because your management is going to be less of a headache. All right. So thanks for the questions. Good questions. And again, congrats to you, Lou. Good spot that you're in. Good challenge to have, even though I don't think it's a challenge, but you got some exciting times ahead, I think. All right. Well, if that looks like that's it, I really appreciate y'all. Thanks for being here. I'll just go ahead and wrap up the show. And if you found this episode valuable, make sure you hit the like button. Let YouTube know that you liked it. And then, if you did like it, who else do you know that might as well? Because there's a really good chance that you do know someone else who would. And when their name comes to mind, please share with them and ask them to click the subscribe button when they get here. I'll take great care of them. All right. God loves you, and so do I. Health, peace, blessings, and success to you. I'm Matt Terry.